Heyo, welcome back everybody to the Fast Break with Taylor and Jake. As always, my name is Taylor Paul Harper, and over here is Jacob Blaine Merritt. So we're going to bust down and get right in, because it's been a little, again, it's kind of been a long period since we've been posting episodes. But it looks like we'll be able to start doing it on Tuesdays, because we'll be able to have Tuesdays off. He does work Tuesdays, or he's got school on Tuesdays, but it's a little later in the day, so we should be able to do it more on the mornings on Tuesday, which is great, which means we can get back to a consistent podcast schedule again, because that's what we've been needing. Everyone has been needing the fast break in their lives. Even though we have basketball, we haven't had the fast break for a little while, so that's even worse than not having basketball itself. But we kind of have a lot to talk about. Obviously, the All-Star starters and reserves have been selected. We've got teams who are trash. We've got teams who are doing great. So let's start in, Jake.
Yeah.
How do you feel
about what? I feel pretty good.
Feel?
I feel pretty good, really. How do you feel?
I feel pretty
good.
I feel pretty good.
Feel healthy, strong.
Healthy.
Slept good last night.
What is it? Natural. Healthy. Just the way God made you. What? You know what that's from?
No.
It's from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Classic.
No. How do you feel about the All-Star starters? Just the
starters. I would have probably gone with Luka behind Dame. Luka's numbers are a little bit better, but I think Dame has been really clutch. He's been helping his team win a lot of games. They're fifth in the West?
Yeah, they're doing great.
I was not gonna lie. I was not so sure Portland was gonna make the playoffs this year. I thought they might be out. But no, they're playing very well. So I only probably would have put Damian in there. Other than that, though, I'm fine with every starter. I think KD and LeBron. Kevin Durant, how many games has he missed?
I'd say a handful.
He's missed a fairly good amount, but he's been really good in what he has played, and it's Kevin Durant, so he gets the nod. Giannis is averaging a double-double. He's 4 assists away from, that's a pretty significant amount, but he's averaging 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. That's crazy.
That is nuts.
That's crazy. He's making an MVP case. The only reason he's not getting talked about as much is because he's won it 2 times in a row.
Right.
Bradley Beal, very deserving. Very happy for Bradley Beal. Joel Embiid, MVP case as well. Kyrie Irving, he's been he's been good.
He has been good.
He's been really good. And then LeBron, Steph, Luka, Nikola, Jokic, and Kawhi. All of them I'm absolutely good with. Like I said, you could have switched out Dame for Luka, but I think the All-Star teams were pretty good this year.
I do agree with that. I do think Damian should have started. That's all I gotta say. I think Damian's game speaks for itself. I think everyone is a Damian Lillard fan. I think everyone's a Luka Doncic fan too.
For the most part.
But as pure talent, I like Damian's game a lot more than Luka's. But
I don't know. Luka's gonna be something special.
He already is.
I think he'll be the top player in the league at some point. Like
I can see that.
number 1 guy.
I can see that. I could totally see that. So let's talk about the reserves. Now, there's some debate about the reserves, obviously. I've got a major debate about it. I absolutely hate that one player is in this. That guy right there. How does he keep making it? Okay, I get that his team is good. He's good. He's a good player. He really is. But I do not think Chris Paul deserves to be an All-Star this year. I don't know.
Who do you think deserves the open?
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
That didn't make it.
But, Devin
At least
Booker.
in the West.
Here's the thing. I get that Devin Booker made it. This is his second time as an NBA All-Star.
Right.
This is his second time as
as
a
a
reserve, though,
as
a replacement. He was a replacement last year as well. He didn't make it until someone got injured. Oh, let's bring in Devin Booker, I guess. Same thing with this year. I think Devin Booker should have been over Chris Paul in the first place. But I look at Chris Paul.
So Chris Paul's averaging 16.7 points per game. So nothing absurd, really.
If you're going to give it to him, you should have given it, and I don't think he even should have been an All-Star this year, but Mike Conley.
I think Mike Conley.
To be honest, I don't think Mike Conley's an All-Star this year. I think Mike Conley is an incredible player. He should have been an All-Star at one point in his career. Mm-hmm. But it's hard for me to give All-Stars to people. Let me put it this way. Rondo has started in the All-Star game before. I don't think Rondo should have ever started in an All-Star game.
I think he had some All-Star years.
He did. But it's hard for me to... It's an All-Star game, okay? It's hard for me to put guys who can't score in there. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Chris Paul can't score, because obviously he can score. But I'm looking at players like Devin Booker. Man, he can score. Zion Williamson, man, he can score.
You know he's doing this on... Real quick note, maybe we'll talk about it in a little bit, but Zion's averaging 25 points on 60% shooting.
There's been multiple games where he's either missed one,
good,
2, 3 shots. Zion Williamson is the real deal, and he's finally here, and it's just a pity.
And now all of his hype is gone.
Now, seriously,
it's crazy.
Now that he's having actually a really great year, his hype's gone. He's had like a few good dunks that are on SportsCenter, but now it's...
Let's finish up on Chris Paul, and then we'll talk about that in just a second, but I'm fine with Chris Paul making it because of what impact he's had on his team. I mean, they're 4th in a tough Western Conference. They were, one game out of the playoffs last year?
Uh-huh.
They were 1 game out of the playoffs. Who knows what would have happened if their season was never shortened. They lose Kelly Oubre, who was kind of an up-and-coming player for him. But they get. I think they also lost rookie Rubio, so Chris Paul replaced Rubio, and purely off of impact of his team, that's why I think Chris Paul is.
I think you could have even thrown John Morant in there too. I think Morant's had a.
I don't even know.
I think it's about 18.5 points. It's kind of like his rookie season. Here's the thing about Morant is he actually hasn't made the jump yet. No, most sophomores don't. Most sophomores don't make a tremendous jump.
Right.
Luka, Trey, and Zion are kind of the exception. But most sophomores either do as good or maybe even just a little bit better or worse. Because
I think Donovan and Tatum, 2 guys who are, I think, future top 10s in the league.
Right.
If not right there already. They had a second slow year, and they really broke out in their 3rd year.
Right, and that's how it typically should be. The 3rd year is kind of the make-or-break year to me that I've heard. There's players like Lonzo who obviously broke.
Look what Kuzma did in his 3rd year.
Right. Garbage.
Kuzma was the Lakers wanted to hold on to him in AD, and now if they could have kept Ingram and included Kuzma, obviously hindsight's 20/20, but man, they would have really come out on the right end of that deal. I think they did anyways. The Lakers did, getting AD. But you see what Kuzma's done his 3rd and his 4th year, and it's been like, okay, he can be a role player off the bench.
Right.
He can start, but he's not going to be what people thought he was. Other than that, though, no, I really do think you got Levine, Julius, Randle.
I think the East has a lot more snubs than
what about
the West.
Ben Simmons averaging 15 a game.
That's another one. I would not put him as an All-Star this year.
Would you put
I get how good they're doing.
I'd put Trae
Young. Trae Young! Are you freaking kidding me? 27 points a game? What is it,
9 assists.
9 assists? How in the world did
Trae Young last year?
Yeah! He stinking started last year!
And he doesn't get it this year. I don't get that.
As much as I hate him, I shouldn't say that. As much as I don't like the man, Sabonis kind of... He's been having a really good year.
He's been the best player.
I would put him as an All-Star this year over last year.
Oh yeah, he's better this year.
Sabonis,
I don't know how Beal didn't make it last year, and Sabonis did. You can go back about a year and watch us freak
out about Sabonis. Still to this day, Sabonis drives me crazy for no particular reason. He's got a good skill. I mean, he's a great passing big man. He's just annoying. I don't even know why.
And he it's kind of like the Jazz. Like, he plays in a small market. He plays in Indiana. It's not like a attractive team, but they do things really well there. The Heat didn't have anyone, which is crazy. Like, how often does that happen where the team that makes the finals the previous year doesn't have an All-Star the next year?
Well, I think COVID hit. I think Jimmy Butler would be an All-Star if he wasn't out for COVID. Bam, on the other hand, he hasn't been out, has he?
Not really.
And Bam's had a pretty nice year. There's been some snubs in the East.
I don't want to say any of the. I don't look at any of these guys and think of how we thought of Sabonis last year. We're like, are you kidding me? Again, Ben Simmons is really good all around numbers, but he's averaging 15 a game, which is lower than Chris Paul. He just Harden, Brown, Levine, Randle, Simmons.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. We got 3 first-timers this year. We got Zion, his first time.
Yeah, first time.
Julius Randle, who Jake has projected to win Most Improved, correct?
And if he's in the All-Star, I think he wins it.
I mean, Brandon Ingram won last year.
Pretty good about that pick, Julius.
And then Jaylen Brown is a first-time All-Star.
He's Levine. He's a first-timer.
Levine's a first-time All-Star. They got a lot of first-timers in there. Over former All-Stars, like we mentioned, Trae Young, Sabonis, Bam, Jimmy Butler. You can even throw Tyus Jones in there. A snub who's
DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan. He has had a pretty good year. Mm-hmm. Another name you could have, I guess, thrown in there just because his name is everywhere, and that's LaMelo Ball. To me, LaMelo Ball is having a great year. Ever since starting, he's averaging over 20 points.
Is he?
LaMelo Ball has been crazy good. Hit a lot of. He hit 2 really nice clutch shots.
He might get there next year.
I think he will. I think I said it in the podcast. Within the next 3 years, LaMelo Ball will be an All-Star. So there's a lot of players who could have made it, didn't make it.
That's just how the NBA works. There's so many good players. It's hard to be upset really about any of them. I've heard people say, "Oh, you need to expand these rosters." I don't think you do, because I think if you're an All-Star, you should get to play a few minutes.
Right.
And if you've got 15 on each side, like a lot of people aren't hardly going to play at all.
Right. And there are players like, for instance, who was one that always... Marc Gasol, to me, was one who would always get the last 4 minutes. Or get 4 minutes to play. I'm like,
what's the point of that?
That's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But so if I was the NBA, I don't want to... I'd think about even possibly shortening the team. Which is kind of not good to say, but maybe to 12 people. Just because there are players... Let's be honest here. Vucevic is not going to play a lot. I can call you right now. Nikola Vucevic is not going to play a lot. I
don't think these two will play. Randle and Simmons.
Randle, Simmons. I would even say Gobert because Jokic is there. I doubt Gobert will play.
Well, he's really the only other big. I guess Zion's not tall, but he plays kind of that big man position.
Zion,
Jokic isn't playing. Gobert's probably going to.
I like to model my body after Zion. I like to look at myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm like Zion.
He's a big dude. He's a big dude.
He's a big boy. It should be interesting, and they're.
It's a tough league.
It is a tough league, and I think it's interesting that they're keeping the Kobe Bryant. Oh my gosh, keeping the Kobe Bryant method. I like that method, but they're still using the Kobe Bryant method
of
adding 24, and I'm like, okay, that's fair. I guess
that's not a lot of points in an All-Star game.
Well, but is every single All-Star game going to be in memorial of Kobe? Because Wilt passed. I don't think they've ever done anything for Wilt. There's been players who've passed.
Did he die of natural causes, though?
I don't know. He was 50. He was young.
I don't know.
What I'm trying to say is that memorial for him last year was great. That fit the year, fit the scene. I think you should just add a random number, like 35. Whoever scores 35 in the fourth quarter. Instead of making it the Kobe Bryant All-Star game, because if it's going to be that way forever, then I don't know. Then that's saying Kobe Bryant is the best basketball player of all time. And we've got to honor the All-Star game after him. That's just the way personally, that's the way I feel. I think the method is great. I love the target score. I love that.
I do like that method, yeah.
But to have it strictly Kobe, I'm like, okay. I don't know.
It's the All-Star game, so I'm not too worried about it. But you're right. I am interested to see if they'll do it next year, because it's only been a little over a year since he passed. So
correct.
It'll be interesting to see though, because it's now that it's an established thing, it's gonna come up again.
Correct. And all 3 events, skills, slam dunk, 3-point shootout, they will all be held. At halftime of the All-Star game?
The dunk contest is at halftime. I think the 3-point shootout is before, and the skills challenge will be either before or at halftime. I'm not sure. I like that. I'm not too worried about it.
I will say
the All-Star weekend is just a break, and it's a chance for the players to rest and try and keep the fans entertained. So I have to pay attention. I know, Taylor, I know you love the All-Star.
I do. I love the All-Star game, or the All-Star events, and I particularly love the 3-point shootout because that one they've at least kept legit. Like, the dunk contest, to me, Levine and Aaron Gordon was great. Last year's was great. But ever since those, the dunk contests have really kind of sucked. I'm gonna be blunt. The dunk contest has sucked for a long time. And that's because people are trying to use all these fancy props, and that's not okay. When you watch these professional dunkers, like Jordan Kilgannon, what's his name, that French dude? No.
I don't know.
There's a French dude who's a professional dunker. Like, when you watch these professional dunkers, they don't use props. They go behind the back twice. They go between the legs twice. They do crazy, crazy dunks instead of, oh, I can jump over the hood of a car. What can you do? Like, to me, it's more of a show instead of skill. So therefore, I like the 3-point shootout because that's a skill. And to watch people like Beef Jerky Joe Harris come out of nowhere and win the 3-point shootout, Buddy Hield winning the 3-point shootout, Stephen Curry constantly losing the 3-point shootout, it's entertaining. So, skills challenge, I
don't care. Don't care about it. Nobody cares.
I do and I don't.
Nobody cares about it.
I do and I don't. Because I do love... I don't know, I liked it when it was guards. I'll be honest, I do like it when it was guards. I don't like... That just tells you how evolved the NBA is when they can add big men who can hit threes and pass, I guess. But there are players who need to be in certain events, like Miles Bridges. If he is not in the dunk contest, I am boycotting. Because that's ridiculous. Donovan Mitchell has entered the 3-point shootout, and he made fun of Joe Ingles for it. Did you hear that? I didn't hear what he said, but I heard he kind of made fun of Joe Ingles because Joe Ingles has kind of been Utah's best 3-point shooter for the past few years, and he's been trying to get on, and he has not made the 3-point shootout.
I don't know if he has tried to.
I think he's wanted to. I think he's wanted to.
A week off. I don't think Joe cares to. I really don't think he does. Like, from what I can tell about Joe from the interviews that he does, because he does a interview every Thursday with the local media on the radio, and he's just the most normal guy. He just plays basketball for a living. He really is the most normal guy. He's like, I go to practice and I play basketball and I have games and I play basketball, but that's about it. He's like, I've got family and friends, and I just kind of like to do my thing. I really don't think he cares. I think he'd rather take a week off vacation with his family than the All-Star events.
He doesn't seem like a very fun guy to me. I feel like Joe Ingles, what he would do in his spare time, because obviously he's from Australia. I could see him and going, you know how people like us, we go to the ocean and we whale watch. I feel like he goes to Australia and kangaroo watches or something. He starts hopping around with the kangaroos. I don't know.
He just seems like a chill guy.
He looks like he always just woke up though.
A little bit.
His eyes
he's
are
got that look.
That or he's been smoking a ton.
No. Don't go there.
But speaking of Joe Ingles, let's talk about the Jazz for a little bit. Championship run or hot streak? I want you to be 100% positive, 100% real.
I'm 100% real. Championship run.
Serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. Because I think...
You think they have that second guy? Because to me, the champion should have at least 2 superstars. Are you considering Gobert that championship superstar? It's hard for me to think of him as champion.
I think impact-wise, yes. Yeah. His impact on the... Gobert's not particularly flashy, but holy crap is he effective. You watch...
Right.
You watch when him and the Lakers and the Jazz were keeping it close, and Quinn Snyder's adjusted his lineup, so Conley and Gobert, they go out a little bit earlier, then they come back when the other teams got their second unit on, and they just go on runs, and they just destroy everyone. Conley and Gobert's plus-minus when they're on the floor together is absurdly good.
Right.
They're incredibly effective together. But Gobert, he sets really good screens, which is really crucial to the Jazz's offense. He catches and finishes lobs. You can tell he's worked on that. He didn't have those hands early in his career that he's got now. And defensively, he actually is good on the perimeter. I know he got spun by Steph Curry, but who hasn't?
Right.
But
what big man hasn't got
steps out
spun
there.
by a guard?
Right. He
Like-
actually gets out there, and instead of just worrying about how he looks, tries to
Right.
clamp up whoever he's guarding. He's always helping. He's swatting shots like nobody's business. He's going to win the Defensive Player of the Year. I like the Jazz because of... I just think they're so balanced overall. I mean, yesterday... They just dismantled the Lakers. Let me pull up the box score because I really can't tell you all the numbers off.
I'm going to
off
say
the top of my
114
head.
to 89. That's my guess, and I'm actually not looking at the score right now.
That's correct, but let's look at the. Let me see if I can find the numbers.
I don't know.
So
Scored
2
over
days
18.
ago, was it who did they play 2 days ago?
Hornets.
The Hornets. They had 19 threes off the bench. So Ingles hit 7, Niang hit 7, Clarkson hit 5. Now, last night,
I don't know how in the world Niang gets 7.
Niang barely, he's a good shooter.
I know, but like I would never
Niang
play.
barely stepped on the court. Bogdanovich had 15, Gobert had 18, Mitchell had 13, Conley had 14, Clarkson had 18, Favors had 12, Niang had 6. So you go from 3 players off the bench scoring 20 to nobody scoring over 20, and you ran the Lakers, admittedly, well, I don't even know the word, a banged up, unhealthy Lakers team, but still a Lakers team. You beat them by 25 points.
Right.
And
You're beating LeBron James by that much.
Right. So that's what I like is the fact that they have so many good shooters that if one guy doesn't really have a good night, no, I don't think anyone feels a huge amount of pressure to come through. Because face it, if LeBron or AD has a bad game, they're probably gonna lose.
Right.
Come playoff time. Where if Conley doesn't have the best game and Bogdanovich, you still got Royce O'Neal who's a good shooter, Donovan, Clarkson, and Gobert.
Correct.
So there's just so many well-rounded players, and I think Quinn Snyder, Coach of the Year, has put together an offense where you don't need to rely on one specific person to be successful.
Right.
And did you know this? They had, I believe it was the 5th hardest strength of schedule up to this point in the year. Up until the All-Star break or up until this point. After the All-Star break, easiest strength of schedule in the league. People saying the Jazz haven't
Where'd
played
you hear
it.
that? Because they haven't.
Dude, I'm telling you, Twitter's not lying.
Huh? I don't believe that, but because every single I believe you, but I see all the teams they're playing, and they're not like maybe the Bucks. The Bucks are trash. I'm gonna flat out say it. Bucks are garbage. They're gone in the second round. Bucks are done. Giannis will never win a championship as long as he's on the Bucks. Bucks are absolute toast. They played who was it?
See, yes, 3rd hardest strength of schedule.
See, that's just so weird to me because I feel like I haven't seen them play good teams yet.
I was like, it's the third. Maybe it may have been dates,
Right.
but up until this point, according to NBA.com or never mind, PowerRankingsGuru.com, 3rd hardest strength of schedule, easiest after the All-Star break.
Huh.
And they're what, 26 and 6?
26 and 6, yeah.
This isn't a fluke, man.
I think
I
it
gotta
is.
give Dayton Simpson his credit because he said the Jazz were 2nd, borderline 1st. He was thinking probably 1st, if I'm remembering correctly. And they're running away with the Western Conference right now.
They are.
So
They are. Let me ask you this.
here's the team that scares me most.
Yep.
Is there's 2 teams I'd probably put more money on. The Nets and probably the Clippers.
Okay.
I don't think the Lakers are doing it this year.
I do.
You think they are?
Gobert cannot guard Davis he can't lock down Davis. He can lock down everybody in the league except for Randle and Jokic. He struggles with Jokic.
He struggles with big men who can shoot.
Any good big man. That's from what I've seen. That's what I've seen.
think it's
any good big man like Davis, Embiid,
What about Giannis?
Jokic.
Giannis doesn't give them. I think it's big
Giannis
men who can pull them away.
It's
from the
trash.
basket.
Giannis
is not.
Let me ask you this, and someone posted this on Instagram, and it makes sense. I'm trying to think of who the other person was. It might have actually been Kendrick Perkins. Oh boy, all of Kendrick Perkins stuff is just BS. But it makes sense. Is Julius Randle a more skilled basketball player than Giannis? think about Giannis' skill set. He doesn't have very many skills. He's tall. That's all he can. That's all it is. Like seriously, he's 6'11" with a 15-foot wingspan. Okay. If I had that wingspan and that height, I'd be averaging 30 freaking points as well.
I think there is some skill to Giannis' game.
So to me, Giannis.
Why doesn't Ben Simmons do what Giannis does?
He does. He doesn't want to score. If he wanted to score, he could score. He's got Embiid. He puts up better numbers than Giannis in the rebounding and assists.
Not rebounds. Giannis is averaging 12 a game.
Ben Simmons is
He's
5 inches shorter. 5 inches shorter.
He's 1 inch shorter.
No, he's not. But to me, like Giannis, there's not much to defend. So yeah, Gobert can sure lock his butt down. But when he gets a skilled big man, I just think that's my only thing is a skilled big man that's gonna toughen or
that'll be tough. I just think, but that's why I think the Jazz's 3-point shooting.
Oh, it's key.
I'm not that scared of a big man who can go down and score 30 in the paint because the Jazz are going to drop 50 from 3.
Well, here's the thing too. Here's the thing people need to realize too. Jazz aren't just jacking up threes. You take a look at the Houston Rockets.
Oh,
they just jack
up threes, but they're making a lot of threes too.
No. Here's what I'm trying to say. They're not just jacking up threes like Houston
right.
did. Houston, we've talked about the 27 missed 3-point game a ton on this podcast. Jazz don't shoot 3-pointers all the time off the dribble. If you watch, every single possession probably has at least 6 passes in it. So they get open. So they pass and pass and pass. And then there's that guy open.
Incredibly smart.
10 times out of the 10, a professional NBA shooter is going to hit a 3 when they're wide open. And that's what the Jazz do, is they get their 3-point shooters wide open. So that, to me, I'm not worried about Utah missing 27 3-pointers in the game.
That's why Royce O'Neal shoots, 42%,
right.
44%?
Right. Is Royce O'Neal a terrific 3-point shooter? I don't know. He's open. Better. So he's open. Right. And he's going to hit him if you're open. So
that's why, dude, I'm telling you, go back and watch the Jazz versus Charlotte. The Jazz were down 11 with a few minutes left in the third. I don't remember exactly when, and I was getting worried. I was like, I was just box score watch. I wasn't watching the game. I put it down. I come back in 5 minutes. They're up by 12,
right.
And then they're up by 20,
right?
Because they just put a barrage of threes. I think Niang, he had probably 4 threes in the fourth quarter. He was 7 of 7,
right.
So he didn't miss one. He was just wide open.
And Yang's not going to be the guy who's going to pull up and shoot off the dribble.
No, never.
He's getting open.
He's going down to the corners or kind of sliding around. He's just got a set shot. He's got his hands ready. So when when his defender goes to help driving Jordan Clarkson or Donovan Mitchell, they can kick it out to him. Wide open 3, and he's going to make it.
That's why there's coaches who are coaches, and then there are coaches like Mike D'Antoni who need to get their thumb out of their butt and actually have an offensive game instead of just James Harden, you run down and shoot threes. Quinn Snyder loves to shoot the 3 ball, and you can tell, but he likes to shoot it good, and he wants to shoot it effectively, and dribbling down and coming off a pick and just quickly passing it out to a guy who's got 2 seconds left to shoot on the shot clock is not a good 3-point shot. So the Jazz really utilize their passes and their 3-point shooting ability. So that to me is a big plus, obviously.
They're 40% from 3.
Which is nuts for a team. For a team is nuts.
Let's see where that ranks overall. It's third
first.
overall.
Third?
It's third overall, but
to who else?
The Clippers are at 42, and the Nets are at 40. The Jazz are attempting 42. The Nets are attempting 37, and the Clippers are taking 34. So if you're making 40% on 42 shots,
right,
compared to 40% of 37 shots, you're going to end up with more points.
4 for 10 is great, people. I mean, it might sound bad on like if you're taking a school test,
but that
4 for 10.
Point,
I mean,
that extra point, two threes is worth 3 twos.
Think about that. Think about that, people.
Watch Moneyball, and then just start thinking basketball-wise. Moneyball is a great show. If you haven't watched Moneyball, I highly recommend it. It's a great show.
Let me ask you this. You said Nets were a team.
The Nets are a team.
I want you to be 100% honest with me. Is Donovan Mitchell beating Durant, Irving, and Harden 4 times? That's my take. 4 times.
Donovan Mitchell isn't. But
the Jazz, you think it can be 4 times?
The Jazz.
I will say this about the Nets.
I'm the least confident against the Nets. I say I'm the Jazz. I am the least confident in the Jazz beating the Nets 4 times versus any other team. I think they could beat Philadelphia. I do
too.
I think they could beat Milwaukee. I think they could beat... The Lakers would be tough, but I think they could do it. The Clippers could be tough, but they actually match up pretty well against the Clippers.
Yeah, not too bad.
When they've played them the last couple years. So the Nets are easily what I'm most concerned about as a Jazz fan. But what the Jazz have that the Nets don't have
is defense. Holy cow.
Is defense and chemistry and continuity. I mean, how many games have the big 3 for Brooklyn played together?
1. I'm just kidding. It feels
5,
that way.
Maybe 5.
Yeah, it feels that way.
5 at the most, I'm thinking. Because KD's been out for a while, then Kyrie was out. Anyways.
And we've talked about chemistry being a big deal because we saw it last year with the Clippers. And Clippers were supposed to be dang good.
We just talked about the Jazz chemistry.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah. So chemistry is a humongous thing in basketball. You cannot just take... there's a reason it works in the All-Star game. It's because it's an All-Star game. It's for show. Mm-hmm. But you take 3 insanely talented and, to me, extremely high egos in Harden and Irving on the same team. Chemistry is going to be a little hard to get. And if it's not there, it's going to be tough. Durant, I feel like he can fit. He understands chemistry's big. Right. But Harden and Irving don't. Harden has been gifted, spoon-fed with some of the best rosters that he could possibly have.
Really has.
With Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul,
Dwight Howard.
And he screws it up. Okay? I don't know how you can possibly do that. I mean, and I think that, to me, is kind of the thing with Philadelphia, too. They've had Simmons and Embiid for a while. But other than that, they haven't had like a bunch of players who've been around on the team for a long time. They kind of trade players as they go. And Utah, you take a look at them, their core has been there for multiple years. Uh-huh. And Boston's kind of seeing that right now with the chemistry.
That chemistry. Like, the Jazz should have beat the Nuggets in the first round last year.
Right.
I think not having Bogdanovich
that was huge.
And Mike Conley was still he just didn't have that chemistry with the team, and they just have it this year.
Right. And that guys, chemistry's
so
huge.
People saying the Jazz are a first round exit or number 1, okay, they've done that the last 2 years, but they've advanced, I think, the prior 2 years. And people saying the Jazz, they just do this every regular season. No, the Jazz don't do this every regular season. I've never seen the Jazz look this good. They've never taken first in the West. Yeah. For as long as I can remember, or been alive.
This is the best I've seen them since that 2008 team when they had D-Will and Boozer. Western Conference Finals. It was a dang good team. I just don't want it to get to their heads.
Yeah, I don't think they will because nobody's giving them credit.
Right,
and like that's national media-wise, that is. Obviously, you see us like we've watched these games and we're close to home, right? It's literally 30 minutes away is the Jazz Stadium, maybe 45. But like if you take some casual fan on the East Coast or in LA or down in Houston, Dallas, Texas, and you say, who do the Jazz have, or what chances do you give the Jazz? Right. Everyone's gonna be like, the Jazz. Right. Because it is the first year they don't have
a big. Well, obviously they've got Donovan Mitchell, who's a great player, but they don't have that LeBron, Harden, Curry name. Right. So they're not getting the recognition that they deserve.
So that's why I don't think this is gonna get to their head. They're too small of a team to get an ego. Unless they just take other teams lightly. Right. Which can happen in the NBA.
Right. And the other thing is, here's the downfall about being low on the market. Is the league favoring them?
No.
No. I'm sorry. I really think the league is rigged in some ways.
And are they going to let to make money? Like the league doesn't exist to display the best basketball in the world. Otherwise, tickets would be free, so everyone could get.
There's a reason Lakers, when they suck at their suckiest, back in 2013 and 14, they still televised over 20 games of them. It's because it's the stinking, stupid Los Angeles Lakers. Is that good TV money for the Jazz? Like, I hate to say that, and I hate to be that guy.
No, it's reality.
Who's going to say, no, Utah's not going to win because it's Utah. because they're not a high market team. I don't want to say that, but that's really how I feel. Do I feel Utah could beat anyone in the league? Honestly, besides the Nets, yes, I do. But I'm going to put it on.
It's the league's not going to make it easy for them.
Right.
I mean, the Spurs down in San Antonio, not a big market, not a big flashy team. They built it off of hard work and teamwork and not having an ego.
Right.
Tim Duncan, top 10 player of all time probably, but never gets any credit.
Right.
Greg Popovich, the greatest.
Yeah, say it.
He's probably the best coach ever.
Yeah.
I think he's up there with Phil, if not better. But like, I mean, their jersey colors are black and white. Like, the Spurs are incredibly, really pretty boring. Their team was fun to watch back in the day, unless they were destroying my Heat.
Right.
They destroyed my Heat. Holy cow, that was bad. So I think it's possible. It's not guaranteed to be a big market.
No.
But
again, it goes back to having that name player. Tim Duncan is a name player.
That's true. He is.
I don't know. I don't want to keep saying that because I want it to be.
I'm saying it's
no money handed to the referees at all. And if that's the case, then yeah, I would say Utah has got a great shot to deliver a nice year.
Right. Every so often you get the 04 Pistons, 2011 Mavericks, who did have Dirk, so they had that name.
Right.
But the team, other than Dirk, they didn't have any big. Jason Kidd was good. But that
team reminds me a lot of Utah because they had everyone contributing.
Everyone contributed.
And that's the thing. Brooklyn doesn't. They've got 3 guys. That I'm going to say it. That's all true. They have. Joe Harris is a nice 3-point shooter. I'll give them that. But they only have 3 players. I've never seen a team in my entire life who's
so top heavy. Here, top 3 up here. Everyone else down there. They've got no defense. They just released any defense that they had.
No defense.
Did you see they released Andre Robertson?
Yeah.
Who were the other 2?
Robertson and what's his bucket? I can picture.
They released
no, never mind. That was
players.
Lakers.
Let's see. Let's see. They released Andre Robertson, Iman Shumpert, who I didn't know they had picked up.
Yeah.
And Noah Vonleh, who all 3 of those guys are
can play
defensive minded.
Right.
So any defense that they had, gone.
I've never seen a team who has had the best offense in NBA history, which they do. They got the best offense in NBA history. Points per game wise. But then the worst.
Oh, they're
defense.
the best. They're the best 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
Percentage wise.
Yeah.
They beat the Jazz by 2%. That's tough to do because the Jazz shoot well.
But they have got the worst defense in the league, which is they are only, last time I checked, they're giving up 3 points less than what they're scoring. That's not good, guys. That's not good.
And that's what I'm thinking. That's where the Jazz could get them.
I don't know.
Name-wise, it goes to the Nets.
Right.
Numbers-wise, what you see on the screen, it goes to the Jazz.
It really does. It really does.
Because the Jazz have that firepower, and they do have that defense. The Nets have that firepower, but they don't have that defense.
And I don't care what you said, Shaq, about motivating the Jazz.
With a bunch of
you
lies.
did. And up your butt, because you don't... There's ways to motivate players and teams. But I don't know, Shaq is just kind of a...
He didn't care to... Has he ever cared to motivate anyone ever?
Right.
He couldn't motivate himself.
Right.
Shaq underperformed in his career.
He really did.
Let's say it.
Yeah.
Because he's the most physically dominant of all time, and it's really not close.
No question.
He was like as big as Zion, but taller.
He could have been the greatest player of all time.
Oh yeah,
he really could have.
Right, absolutely. I mean, he really didn't. He was a contributor, but he wasn't huge in Miami. Oh, you can. He wasn't huge in Miami's ring, so he really only got himself 3 rings.
Right.
Steph Curry's got 3 rings. Right. Shaq underperformed.
James Jones has got 3 rings.
Yeah. Shaq has never cared to motivate anyone. Like I said, he couldn't motivate himself, so why would he care about little old Utah?
Right.
Oh, I wanted Donovan and Gobert to see this. You're welcome, Utah.
Yeah, right. Like
It's ridiculous. So,
I don't know. So kind of an up your butt moment right there to Shaq. That Utah's doing so good, but it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Here's the thing too, and this goes in Utah's favor. Whether they postpone, I don't know. If they do, then that is the league to me setting it up. Donovan and Gobert have both had COVID. Has Harden and Irving? Durant had it, didn't he?
Durant did have it.
Has Harden or Irving had COVID?
I want to say Harden did it, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. I was just going to say, let's say it comes final season, and Kyrie Irving being Kyrie Irving going out to balloon festivals or whatever the heck goes through Kyrie Irving's mind. Maybe he's jumping with the kangaroos. It's not Joe Ingles. It's Kyrie. Because apparently,
he's from Australia.
He's from Australia, so he's jumping with the kangaroos. Let's say he catches COVID. That puts a damper on the team. So therefore, that kind of favors Utah in the way of having players out.
Well, unless Kyrie Irving.
Or if the league rigs it and postpones until he's healthy, I don't know. So it will be interesting because COVID's still out there, people, and it's still taking tolls on people.
Marker?
I do.
I just got a couple things you got to touch on.
Yes.
Keep on going with it.
What I'm trying to say is, does Utah have the capability of winning? Yes, they do. Do I think the league is rigged? Absolutely.
I wouldn't say it's 100% rigged, but I think it's definitely favored to some teams.
Yeah.
We got one more. Couple individual.
Oh yeah!
highlights.
Oh yeah! How did we miss the first one?
Couple individual.
Oh yeah!
highlights, and
Oh
then
yeah!
Should we get to that there?
Oh gosh, who is that? Oh yeah, I know who it is.
All right. So Anthony Edwards absolutely obliterated. Maybe one of the best dunks I've ever seen. It was Blake Griffin on Kendrick Perkins level. Good. I don't even know who the guy is. He plays for Toronto.
Utah
I think he's
Watanabe. I think is how you pronounce it, or something like that.
Watanabe?
Watanabe, something like that.
A Japanese guy who's pretty tall went up to contest Anthony Edwards, and he just got destroyed.
Oh man!
I wish we knew how to like put the video in because we'd be showing it right here.
Oh my
but you
gosh!
Watch, open up another window and watch Anthony Edwards dunk, and your eyes will never be the same.
It was
crazy, man. Anthony Edwards, I think he's the real deal. I don't know about the real deal, but I think he'll be pretty good.
Oh, he's a good player, and he's starting again. He's probably up to about 17 points since he started. So he's a good ball player, and he just needs.
Dude, he's a funny guy.
He needs to get out of Minnesota. Everyone needs to get out of Minnesota. We've talked about this. Minnesota needs to leave the NBA. That team is. They need to start 100% from scratch. Wipe Minnesota off the market. They've never done anything. They will never do anything. And relocate somewhere else. New coaching staff, new agents, new stinking security. I don't even care. Start literally from ground zero. Yes, and then because they are not going anywhere, and everyone who plays for that. If I was an NBA player and I was traded or drafted in Minnesota, I'd be like, gosh dang it, I want to retire right now. Because that place is trash. I'm sorry. It is the most ski-wampus organization I've ever seen.
That's why Jimmy Butler hardly made it a season.
Ever.
So yeah, Anthony Edwards destroyed a man's life. Luka Doncic. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot this was against your team.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Dude, I guess admit that was a pretty clutch minute of play by Luka.
It was his little step back and then he did another one.
He went up by, was it 2? I think he went up by 2. Then Jaylen Brown came. No, I think they were down 1.
They were down 1. Hit the step back 3.
Hit the step back to go up by 2. Jaylen Brown scores to tie it up at 107 with 9 seconds left. No timeouts. Dallas inbounds the ball, and I was like, "Oh, you left him too much time." Yep. I was like, "There's too much. 9 seconds is too long.
Yeah,
it's too long." And he just hits the step back from the exact same spot on the floor he hit it against the Clippers.
Yep.
It was impressive. It was a really nice shot. So Luka's had some good games lately. Dallas has.
They started picking up, I guess.
Better. They have been,
which is good because they were absolute butt about 2 weeks ago. They were
like second to last.
So what are they now? What's their record?
They're 1 spot out of the playoffs. They're 15-15.
Okay, great.
So not great. Not what people were projecting them 4th, like above the Jazz and.
Which is funny because I was that same way too. But now I look at their roster. Their roster's not great. I will be honest. They've got Luka, and that's it. They're talking about trading Porzingis, so that's how much faith they have in Kristaps Porzingis.
He's just too injury prone.
So
and he's not that good.
He's not that great. I'm sorry, people. He's not a unicorn. He is a unicorn because unicorns don't exist. That's what it is. Kristaps Porzingis just doesn't exist.
He's a unicorn who's got his back legs cut off.
He's something. He's a Lou Dort. Lou Dort hit the game winner.
Dude, he was wide.
I've never seen a more wide open game winner in my life. Like that was BS on who they played.
Spurs? Was it the Spurs?
Spurs defense part because that was terrible.
Let's see. I want to say it was the Spurs. Yeah, but it was the Spurs.
I mean, that's just terrible.
Lou Dort is the funniest thing.
Hey, he's had some really good games, and he's a good little ball
out
player.
Of nowhere. I had no idea who this guy is until the bubble, but he's
pretty dang good defender too. He's locking. I'm sure you guys have you seen the video of him guarding LeBron James? He's just.
Oh yeah.
He's got nothing to lose. You know, everything to prove, and he's
gonna get himself a nice contract.
He's a good player. I like Lou Dort.
Yeah.
Don't like your name. It's fun to say though, Lou Dort. It's kind of fun. All right, let's get to the clown of the week, and I'm just gonna throw.
We should do the hero of the week first or clown of the week.
You have the hero?
I had a hero. Let's think of one. Who's a good hero of the week?
Because you could go.
Maybe Luka. I mean, he just hit that. He just hit that game winner. Actually, probably Dame. I don't know if he has been before, but Dame has been so close. I mean, he is just coming up game after game in the clutch.
Yeah.
I don't have too much to say about him. I kind of forgot. I had one like last week, but it's been a couple weeks. But anyways, Damian's been absurdly clutch this year again.
As always.
He's got the excuse me, we're so focused on the Jazz. He's got the Blazers. Let's check. Where are they in the tough Western Conference? They're 5th.
But what's their record?
18-13. That's pretty good.
Oh, okay. That's for some reason I was thinking it was like maybe it was 1 point.
I mean,
like
the Clippers are
10.
23-10.
Right.
So that's a pretty good record with. Is Nurkic playing again? I don't know if he is.
I don't know if he is.
He's pretty much single-handedly keeping his team in 5th place. So.
That's how stinking good Damian Lillard is. And he's another kind of player who's not going to get the respect he ever deserves, and it's until he leaves to go get a ring. And that's one of the reasons I really, really respect Damian Lillard is because he's not a ring chaser. No. And he sticks with Portland because that's the team who drafted him. He likes the organization. He likes his teammates. CJ McCollum.
He gets them to the playoffs every year.
CJ McCollum's a great teammate, too. He's just injured right now. But CJ McCollum's a great teammate. Nurkic is great. I don't care what Flight React says. Nurkic is a great center. Gary Trent Jr., you probably couldn't have a better guy to pass the 3-ball.
He's good.
I mean, they're a good team.
They are. They're a very likable team. I don't know if anyone that's ever been like, oh, you know who I hate is those Portland Trailblazers.
Right.
Nobody hates the Portland Trailblazers. Right. So yeah, Damian Lillard, hero of the week. He could be every week, but he is this time.
I'm not going to mince too much words. My Boston Celtics are the clowns of the week. I've got I've got some things to say about Boston that I may or may not.
Think about the good times, Taylor.
What, the 08 good times? I expressed that they need to trade Kemba Walker. I still agree with that. If Danny Ainge does not pull the trigger at this trade deadline or sooner, I don't know what I would fire Danny because he has got a $28 million trade exception that he is not using at the moment, which is fine. He probably wait until the trade.
Can you explain that? I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. I just think I feel like you're able to sign someone with that money, kind of type deal.
Like I don't know you can add it to their existing contract or something?
Kind of, something like that. So look up what a trade exception means. All I know is you got $28 million worth of it. So that can't mean...
A trade exception allows teams that are over the salary cap to trade a player or players without having to trade one of their own players as long as the incoming salary isn't larger than the exception plus $100,000.
Okay. So whether he's planning on using it, he has expressed that he's been looking at trades, He's got pieces that he needs to trade while he can, a la Daniel Tice, Jeff Teague, as good as, what am I trying to say? Trade him now while you can, because Teague has not looked good at all this year.
I know. I'm sorry, Taylor.
Kemba Walker, as Danny Ainge apparently called him, damaged goods, which is the exact term he used for Isaiah Thomas. Which, I agree with. I mean, Kemba Walker is damaged goods right now, which...
But he wasn't playing like that earlier last year.
According to a source, Danny Ainge tried like heck to trade Kemba Walker before the season started.
Really?
So whether that's true or not...
Interesting.
So, like I said, they've got the trade exception. They got some trades to make. They have to make some trades. And the guy they have to trade for, in my opinion, is Andre Drummond. They need to snag a legit center because Daniel Tice, I'm sorry, buddy, you can't. You're 6'9". You can't compete with the big guys. I'm sorry, you can't. You need to trade for.
He'd be a good bench player.
He would be
A good big off the bench.
Oh, Robert Williamson. They need to freaking. Okay, Brad. If you are watching this podcast, start Robert Williams. Okay, the dude is nuts. When he plays, he is so stinking effective.
He's good, dude.
He is good. He's a legit center. He can block shots. He's a shot blocker. He's a rebounder. I don't know. I just don't know why he's so in love with Daniel Tice. I don't know why he's so in love with Daniel Tice. And I don't know why Danny Ainge doesn't like centers. Like, he loves the small forward position. He loves that. I'm like, stop, dude, stop. So, yeah, the clowns of the week would probably be my Celtics, Brad Stevens, and Danny Ainge. Particularly, I would even say Brad Stevens, because Brad Stevens, I don't know if he's a great coach. I really don't want to say that, but I don't know if he's a great coach. His coaching, at least his substitution method. His substitution method is garbage.
Well, that's huge. How you're managing your lineups. I mean, you can't control as a coach what shot goes up and down, or what shot goes down. You can't control what decisions these players make. What you can't control is your substitution pattern and your lineups. And if your lineups aren't efficient, I mean, I guess you're not that good of a coach, are you?
I mean, here's who also I think they should try to get, because they don't technically need an all-star point guard.
Right.
Someone cheap. Trade for Rondo. Bring him back home. I think Rondo would get Tatum and Brown some really nice looks instead of trying to get their own looks, because that's what they're trying to do. I know Atlanta said they want to trade him because, Rondo, him and his girlfriend are a little bit of a trouble. Did you hear about that story? Did you not watch the video? Oh, man. So Rondo's girlfriend was talking to another girlfriend, like in a parking garage or whatever. And his girlfriend went over and punched this other chick. And Rondo pulls her back. And then Rondo's like, nah, go for it. And lets her go. And his girlfriend just starts wailing on this other chick. It's not funny. But
it's kind of funny.
Rondo, I love him.
Yeah. So
he has got the worst attitude I've ever seen. But his play style is what I fell in love with, of course.
Yeah.
But Boston needs something other than just scorers.
I think it'll help when they get Marcus back.
Huge.
Dude, he's huge for you guys.
Huge.
Marcus is super big for you.
Let that be our point guard. I'd be okay with Marcus being our point guard just as long as he doesn't take game-winning shots, because he's never going to make one. If he was... I don't know.
Fair enough.
That's the clown of the week. We're going to end on a new segment. We won't be doing the segment today. We'll be doing it next week. But what the new segment is, it's called Make the Case. So one of us will go back and forth. I will make a case, or I will tell Jake what the case I want him to make is. So, for instance, Jake, your goal for the week to present to us next week, make the case that Kyle Korver is the greatest three-point shooter in NBA history. Okay? So he's got a week to study, do some research.
You want me to actually do that?
Sure.
Is that my case?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do today, but I didn't really research it a lot, but I was thinking about man, I can make a dang good case as to why Kyle Korver.
All right.
So what Jake's going to do over the next week is he's going to try to make a case, or you know what? We're probably going to do the podcast Tuesday. So you actually have a limited amount of time.
Oh, Taylor.
So you've got a limited amount of time But yeah, do your research, make a case as to why Kyle Korver is the greatest three-point shooter, and then next week he's going to give me a case so that I will study it and present the week after that. So that's our new segment called Make the Case. We're going to get back on schedule, people, as to a weekly podcast again, because the funny thing is it's just like the worst time to having like every other week podcast because it's so in the middle of the season. It's all-stars happening, so it's like the worst time. But I apologize. But we're back, and we're here to stay. So make sure you guys tell everybody about us. Tell your friends, your family, hobos from other neighborhoods. You know, just spread the word. So.